Back for another video. My name is Josh Kasich, and today, this is my Dumbo, a real live action movie remake of the Dumbo. I just finished watching the movie today, and so I want to make sure I get this video out, while it's still fresh in my mind. So let me give you some backstory with Dumbo, the movies. When I was younger, I watched Dumbo so much. So Dumbo's kind of a special movie to me. I don't know why I always wanted to watch it. Why I watched it a lot. I watched it to the point where my mom got tired of the movie. So. But it was at a time when we still had VHS players and stuff like that. So I haven't seen Dumbo in years because of the fact that we only have it on VHS. And I've been watching other things, but so it's interesting, watching this film. Hopefully it doesn't really tramp on or stomp on the original movie. And I think after watching it, I realized how much this movie is different from the original. Most Disney real live action remakes, they have differences, but more or less they kind of stay true to the same story, and there's some scenes are even duplicated. But this movie, there's literally nothing that's the same. I mean, there's some scenes I guess are kind of like scenes in the original, but obviously it's not exactly the same. I mean, you have new characters, it's a totally different story altogether. It still follows Dumbo being mistreated, for having big ears or whatever, and learning how to, it still flies, but other than that, it's I can't even tell you how different the movie is. It's really different. I don't think you can even compare both films based on that. There's one little scene I just didn't like. Well, it's not just one scene. It has two appearances, but I don't really want to go over that. That it was just kind of weird, why do they need to put that in the film? But other than that, I think for being a new story, it was really good. It's new, fresh take, which is good. It's not a 100% remake. But it was definitely I think it was beautifully filmed. I think for a new story, it was really good. It ends on a happy story. Especially the ending's even different from the original. So like I said, I think the fact that it has a new story, it doesn't try to trample itself on the original or to stomp or whatever you want to use. I think overall I think it's a good movie, and there's not really much else to say. It's really hard. It's hard to kind of it kind of starts off with children. Basically, it first starts off with kind of introducing the circus without talking, just the train and all that, and it kind of shows the different spots it went. And the last part, they're setting up, and then you have these two kids who essentially they hear a train, so they run to it, and their father was on it, who was in the war. Assuming that it's either war. I don't know what war. Didn't exactly say. I think it said what war it was, but I kind of forgot what war it was. But he was missing he lost an arm, But when he came back, I guess his wife passed away. And the owner of the circus, played by uh, Danny DeVito. No. No. What did I just say? I know his first name is Danny. He's a very famous actor. I should know his last name. Whatever, my bad. So, other than that, so basically he, is witnessing changes. His horses, he used to be a trick horse person. His horses were sold off, and, so he basically got assigned to the elephants. We find out that the owner bought Mrs. Jumbo, and she was about to have a baby. So Dumbo isn't born yet, and then eventually does get born, and that's when he starts getting made fun of his large ears. And the children kind of teach it how to fly, and it does. Eventually, its first appearance didn't go well, and people made fun of it, and that's where it got the name Dumbo, because it was first called Jumbo Jr. So yeah, they started calling it Dumbo, and then the children, like I said, learned to teach it how to fly. And then they did that clown fire scene, and the elephant got trapped in a situation of the building. Basically, it grabbed water and poured out the thing, right, like it's supposed to, and then the person who actually controls the fire turns it down to make it look like the water is actually taking out the fire, but then some clown threw their head or something and hit the switch, and it totally lit the entire thing on fire, and it was really bad. Now Dumbo only flies with a feather, so basically the girl, because it's a girl and a boy, the girl and she doesn't want to be in the circus because she likes science or whatever, and she walks up and gets the flower, and Dumbo flies, and eventually they get seen by this guy who is like, basically all he cares about is money, attraction. He has this place called the Dream World, like Dream World or Land or whatever. I forgot exactly which one it was. One of those. It's like a huge kind of carnival type place, roller coasters, Ferris wheel, all sorts of stuff like that. And so they basically, he creates a partnership with the owner of the circus so he could get Dumbo to get him money, because he's actually lost money, which we will find out later he doesn't have any money, and he's trying to get money from this really famous bank. And so the person who plays the bank owner or whatever, I've actually seen him before. He actually plays in the Santa Claus movies, the live action with Tim Allen. He plays in the third one. He plays Santa Claus's father-in-law. So yeah. So that's interesting. I did not expect that. That was pretty interesting. Now, essentially, this guy is really. Now, in the chaos when they started calling Dumbo, I forgot to mention that the Mrs. Jumbo kind of took down like the tent of the circus and the pole. Basically, the person, like this weird, mean-looking guy by design, he's kind of been rude to Mrs. Jumbo, and he ends up dying because when Mrs. Jumbo kind of took down the circus, the huge pole fell on the guy. So yeah, so there's an attraction which we find out later at the Dream World called the what was it? Doom Island? Was it Doom Island? Something Island. Where basically had the most dangerous creatures they found, and Mrs. Jumbo was in there. And the first appearance of Dumbo in that Dreamland world, basically he hears his mother, so he flies out of the circus, trying to. Now they're also trying to get someone to ride the horse. This lady who's basically kind of a trapeze artist, or fly in the sky. And it's basically Mr. Vanderbilt, the guy who owns his Dreamland in partnership with the owner of the circus. He basically found her, and he kind of makes her his queen or whatever. But we find out later that he kind of just mistreats everyone, including her, and she actually leaves with the heroes and of the story. Then they were able to basically, when Dumbo escaped, the bank decided, oh, we're not giving you money because you can't control your Dumbo. And there was also an accident because the girl I was talking about, she actually falls off because basically she had powder or whatever, and it made Dumbo sneeze and let go of the feather, and he tried to go after it, grab it, but it was already too late, and she kind of, when he leans over, she falls over, and she was hanging on to his thing that he had on his head, and eventually does fall, but the father, as earlier I was talking about, rescues her actually, with a rope and, well, technically he had it, and a run arm, he manages to do that, but, which is, interesting. They don't actually, it's more of an implied that they end up together. They don't actually, like, kiss or anything at the end. It's just more of an imply. If they did further story, I definitely think if they did, like, a sequel, I think they would be together, but I don't know, you can't really do a sequel based on, so I'll get to why there won't be a sequel. So, as I said, the Dumbo finds his mother, right? And this causes problems for Mr. Vanderbilt. So he decides, okay, I'm going to get rid of and kill Mrs. Jumbo. And so the kids, and then he also because of this affair, he also has the circus owner fire all his people. And so they all decide to free Mrs. Jumbo and Dumbo, to wild. So that was different. And let's just say their plan was to basically, as the truck obviously, going in to take Miss Jumbo away to kill her, they got Miss Jumbo and thing, and then all the circus people, they broke into the island, broke into the building, turned off the power, and they turned on, like, gas, and then they made costumes or whatever, wore it to make it look like it's the dangerous animals have been loose or whatever, and they basically take down everyone except for the bald guy, that works for Mr. Vanderbilt, and he's kind of just, he's just, how do I say, he's loyal, rude, and whatever. And they were able to, they hijacked the truck, and when they were able to escape, and then basically the father, he actually cuts a hole in the circus tent thing so that Dumbo and the woman who's riding her, they finally successfully ride her in front of everyone. They escape, and he actually gets knocked down. He's falling down this thing. We thought, but he was able to grab something and live or whatever. Obviously, this is a Disney movie, so that's nothing. No one's going to like really die. So. But yeah, well, I mean, yeah, people die in Disney stuff. I mean, but I meant like the main characters don't die. Most of the villains die. So, but yeah, and so they, but eventually, now what they do is they fly to the power center and turn off everything. And Mr. Vanderbilt they left, but Mr. Vanderbilt, he was trying to turn things back on, but he was turning them back on the wrong way. And the guy who was telling him this, you can't turn this on like that. You're going to cause problems. And he does. He basically lights everything on fire and say goodbye to Dreamland. It all melts or burns down. So yeah, that happens. But eventually, basically, the children are actually running away from the bald guy because Mr. Vanderbilt told them to get them, and they went back into the circus tent, which is basically on fire. Then we see the father riding in, and he grabs a horse so he can still ride with one arm, and he goes in, and he basically ropes the guy, and then he has the horse run. So the guy is on the ground being dragged by a horse. And then they're all together, kind of, they're not sure how they're going to get out. They're just huddling there, kind of waiting for their doom. That's when Dumbo, basically, now the girl and the Dumbo go to the truck where Mrs. Jumbo is, but they realize that they're in trouble, and so Dumbo flies to rescue the children and everything. First, he grabs water from the Doom Island area, and then he goes in, and then he helps them escape, right? And then the father has the kids ride on Dumbo and have them escape. Now, the father was actually burned the fire, so the girl, she has a key from her mom, and she threw it into the fire saying, I don't need this to unlock doors anymore. You don't need the feather to unlock your ability to fly, kind of moment. So Dumbo flies with the children away, and then the father actually grabs another horse and gets out of there too. And the ending, they get Jumbo and Dumbo, Mrs. Jumbo and Dumbo onto a ship that would take them to Africa. I'm pretty sure it's Africa. I think I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's Africa though. And then everyone had a goodbye to Miss Dumbo, right? Because and then the last part is that the bank apparently liked the circus owner, and I don't know, paid for them or whatever to keep their circus open, I assume. And the ending there is we have the new attractions. The girl gets the science thing by doing a camera, those really old wind-up things, to project a thing on the screen, and stuff. And the boy does some type of writing thing, and then he also we find out that somehow it's like either a metal arm or something, but the father gets technically an arm that he can move around and wave and all that, and he's riding a horse, and the girl, the flying girl, is also there, and well, not exactly, yeah, and then she basically lands on the horse, and they kind of wave. I feel like they're hinting that they're together, basically. Yeah, and it's just the owner going over all the attractions they have, and that was basically it for that part. And then the last part is Dumbo and Jumbo in the wild. They're kind of in a huge they're like at the top, like there's this huge area, like they're on a cliff area, like the cliff goes around, and there's like a big open area at the bottom with bunch of elephants, and Dumbo and Mrs. Jumbo appear there, and then Dumbo flies around the area and then goes back to his mother, and yeah, that's it for the movie, basically. So, you know, like I said, I really enjoyed this film. There's 2 scenes I didn't like. It's a fresh take. It's totally different from the movie. So, there's definitely, like I said, there's definitely references to scenes from the old movie, obviously. But other than that, it's a really good movie. So you guys should go watch it. Actually, I do recommend it. It's pretty good. Out of all the Disney remakes, I think you should definitely go check it out. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. If you're new, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can notify from the next upload. My YouTube channel website link, as well as my Twitter, is down in the description as always. And thank you. Goodbye.